Welcome back, everybody. Bruce Porter joins us now for this week's Dollars and Cents segment, where he takes a viewer's email and gives a shot at answering the financial question right on the air. Welcome back. Good to see you.
Thank you.
All right, here is this week's question. This is simple enough, or at least the question's simple. What's the difference between an IRA and a Roth IRA, the traditional versus the Roth? Which should I buy or invest in?
Good question. What we need to determine is what it's for. An easy way to look at that, do you need a tax deduction or do you not? So if you need a tax deduction, that's one thing you could do, and you could get a deduction for that contribution. The limits are $5,500, and at 50 or above, you can do a catch-up provision. You could put $6,500 in. Now, if you do that in a traditional IRA, let's say you're in a 10% tax bracket. Well, 10% of that is going to give you additional credit on a refund, or it's going to reduce the amount you owe by that much. So there's value to that as far as the contribution goes. Now, they're deductible when they go in, so when a traditional IRA comes out, it's going to be tax deductible as it comes out. Now, contrary to that's the Roth IRA. So let's say you're doing well, you want to make an IRA contribution for retirement savings, but you don't necessarily need a deduction this year. Well, you might contemplate doing a Roth IRA. You don't get a deduction up front, but the principal and the growth, as it defers and compounds its growth, when you go to draw it out, it's tax-free. Now, there's provisions. It has to be more than 5 years old, and you have to comply with all that. But assuming that you do that for retirement, you can build up a nice nest egg of tax-free income. Your IRA could be a nice nest egg of taxable income. And all of that is pretty much going to be determined by how you're filing. Married, filing jointly, filing separately. If you're single, there's modified adjusted gross income determines your eligibility for deduction. So it's a little bit more complicated than just which one should I buy. But you just get some good financial advice, and they can determine which one's going to be suitable and the best one for you to do. But
obvious benefits to either. You just have to make a decision there. Yeah,
absolutely. It just depends on which one you need at the time that's going to benefit you the most. So you determine that by looking at what's my eligibility, what's my deduction, is it a partial deduction, do I get a full deduction? And that's, again, based on your modified adjusted gross income.
Well, by and large, which would you recommend for someone just starting out?
Well, if you're just starting out, obviously I want you to build some savings, and I like to build that up for emergency reserves. But if you're not offered a retirement plan through work, then you start making IRA contributions. Now, you can make those at very reasonable amounts. You can start out at $25 a month, $50 a month, something like that. Set up a traditional IRA so you get deductibility, assuming that you're just starting out as a young person. So you can do that with a bank account. You can set up an IRA, build that up. And then once you get up to a certain limit, you can look at other alternatives that probably have minimum deposits that have to begin with.
30 seconds, though. What about if you're late in the game getting in?
Yeah.
If you're late in the game and you're not offered through your employer a retirement plan, absolutely take advantage of the catch-up. Now, you have to be willing to part with the money to get the advantage of the deduction and the growth of it. But assuming that you're in a position that you can do that, absolutely put the additional $1,000 in to do the catch-up on either one.
No tax on the end.
If you need a deduction, even late in the game, do a traditional. If not,
Bruce,
otherwise do the Roth.